Railcast. Today we're going to be starting our new book, which is The Minpins by Roald Dahl. So I want you to have a look at that front cover and see what you think the story might be about. So think about what you can see. Where's the story set? Where does it take place? Who are the characters? What characters can you see? How are they different? So I think it could be set in the woods because I can see really big trees and leaves. Maybe in a dark wood because it looks quite dark. I think this boy here might be the main character because he's larger than all the other characters. And if you look really closely, I can see little tiny people in the trees, in the leaves, on the branches. So maybe they're the Minpins. We can find out. Little Billy's mother was always telling him exactly what he was allowed to do and what he was not allowed to do. All the things he was allowed to do were boring. All the things he was not allowed to do were exciting. One of the things he was never allowed to do, the most exciting of them all, was to go out through the garden gate all by himself and explore the world beyond. On this sunny summer afternoon, little Billy was kneeling on a chair in the living room, gazing out through the window at the wonderful world beyond. His mother was in the kitchen doing the ironing, and although the door was open, she couldn't see him. Every now and again, his mother would call out to him saying, "Little Billy, what are you up to in there?" And little Billy would always call back and say, "I'm being good, Mummy." But little Billy was awfully tired of being good. So you can see here, this is Billy, and he's looking through the window. He wants to get past that gate, doesn't he? But his mum said he's not allowed. Let's have a look at the next picture. So here's the wood that we saw on that front cover. Through the window, not so very far away, he could see the big black secret wood that was called the Forest of Sin. It was something he'd always longed to explore. His mother had told him that even grown-ups were frightened of going into the Forest of Sin. She recited a poem to him that was well known in the district. It went like this: "Beware, beware, the forest of sin, none come out, but many come in." "Why don't they come out?" little Billy asked her. "What happens to them in the wood?" "That wood," his mother said, "is full of the most bloodthirsty wild beasts in the world." "You mean tigers and lions?" little Billy asked. "Much worse than that," his mother said. "What's worse than tigers and lions, Mummy?" "Wangdoodles and worse," his mother said, "and hornswogglers and snozwanglers and vermicious nids. And worst of all is the terrible blood-suckling, tooth-pluckling, stone-chuckling splitter. There's one of them in there too." "A splitter? Mummy?" "Of course. And when the splitter chases after you, he blows clouds of hot smoke out of his nose." "Would he eat me up?" little Billy asked. "In one gulp," his mother said. Little Billy did not believe a word of this. He guessed his mother was making it all up just to frighten him and to stop him ever going out of the house alone. And now little Billy was kneeling on the chair, gazing with longing through the window at the famous Forest of Sin. "Little Billy," his mother called out from the kitchen, "what are you doing?" "I'm being good, Mummy," little Billy called back. Just then, a funny thing happened. Little Billy began to hear somebody whispering in his ear. He knew exactly who it was. It was the devil. The devil always started whispering to him when he was especially bored. "It would be easy," the devil was whispering, "to climb out through that window. No one would see you. And in a jiffy, you would be in the garden. And in another jiffy, you would be through the front gate. And in yet another jiffy, you would be exploring the marvellous Forest of Sin all by yourself. It is a super place. Do not believe one word of what your mother says about wangdoodles and hornswogglers and snozwanglers and vermicious nids and the terrible blood-suckling, tooth-pluckling, stone-chuckling splitter. There are no such things." "What is in there?" little Billy whispered. "Wild strawberries," the devil whispered back. "The whole floor of the forest is carpeted with wild strawberries, every one of them luscious and red and juicy ripe. Go and see for yourself." These are the words the devil whispered softly into little Billy's ear on that sunny summer afternoon. The next moment, little Billy had opened the window and was climbing out. In a jiffy, he had dropped silently onto the flower bed below. In another jiffy, he was out through the garden gate. And in yet another jiffy, he was standing on the very edge of the great big dark forest of sin. He had made it. He had got there. And now the forest was all his to explore. Was he nervous? What? Who said anything about being nervous? Hornswogglers, vermicious nids, what sort of rubbish was that? Little Billy hesitated. I'm not nervous, he said. I'm not in the least bit nervous. Not me. Very, very slowly, he walked forward into the great forest. Giant trees were soon surrounding him on all sides, and their branches made an almost solid roof high above his head, blotting out the sky. Here and there, little shafts of sunlight shone through gaps in the roof. There was not a sound anywhere. It was like being among the dead men in an enormous empty green cathedral. Here's our picture. I hope you enjoyed the start of our story, and we're going to continue reading it for the rest of this week and the remaining week.